Back to block 4, and this is the last unit, unit 15. We will discuss on a case study that describes rural distribution for FMCG sector. We will explore a case study on Hindustan Unilever Limited, that is HUL, and its pioneering rural distribution strategies. HUL is India's largest FMCG company that we all know and a trailblazer in reaching the country's rural market. We can take HUL as the first company who has tried to reach the rural market. In this session, we will see how HUL evolved its distribution network, overcame rural challenges, and built innovative models like Project Sakti. Many a time we have discussed that, but for this session, we will discuss the case study in detail. Why it is important? Because rural markets accounts over two-thirds of India's population, and villages are spreading in a different quite far away from each other. And FMCG companies cannot ignore the vast consumer base of rural market. So particularly this unit is designed with specific learning outcomes. So what are the learning outcomes? We will discuss the distribution complexities involved in fast moving low unit value products in rural India. What are the complexities in distribution channel for FMCG product, and we will also discuss the low unit value products in rural India. After that, we will identify the challenges specific to rural market, specially related to distribution function. Then we will evaluate various distribution options available to FMCG company, and the final outcome is critically analyze the effectiveness of the distribution efforts of the company. So after finishing this unit, you will get to understand these are the outcomes. And finally, you will assess how technology and infrastructure developments are reshaping rural markets nowadays, and what lessons FMCG companies can draw from HUL's example. So you can take a reference example of HUL like this, and you will also design your company's distribution channel for rural marketing. And HUL's network has evolved since 1960s, and how they have evolved, what are the innovative initiatives, that everything we are going to discuss in this session. Let's understand the importance of rural market. Rural market or rural India is majorly having a population of entire India's population around 65 to 70%, and it contributes 50% of the FMCG sales. That means FMCG companies are selling their 50% of products in rural market. And we also know there is a possibility of rising incomes, disposable income nowadays in rural market due to non-farming income sources. So rural markets are crucial for FMCG growth because population is around 70% of the entire country's population, and they already contribute around half of the total FMCG sales. Rising income, more disposable income, and better infrastructure, let it be road communication or the availability of the product at the nearest shop, are making rural households more aspirational in their buying behavior, with similar brand preferences to urban consumer. That means rural and urban preferences are having a narrower gap nowadays. Urban buying behavior is exactly or somewhat closely getting the same buying behavior in rural market. The increasing penetration of roads, mobile phones, and digital network is helping companies like HUL to tap into this market more effectively. So previously the situation was a different state. Now the situation is in different state. So infrastructure is slowly developing. Government is taking initiative to develop the road condition in rural areas. People are now slowly exposed to digital medium. They're exposed to social media also. So what the market is, even you must have seen there, the gap between the buying behavior of rural market as well as urban market is now coming close to each other. That means the marketer cannot avoid this importance of rural market. Let it be a possibility of high sales in rural market, considering two different factors to that. But again, with that, we have many challenges in rural distribution. We understand that rural market is a potential market. but rural distribution is full of challenges. Villages are scattered and often lack proper roads and infrastructure. So, what it makes difficult? It is making logistic costly or the transportation costly and difficult. Retail penetration is still low and demand is seasonal. Demand is also always seasonal. That in previous unit we have discussed about the demand that usually goes to the higher level during harvesting time or festivals time. Other time of these year it is low than the normal demand scale growth. So margins are thin, yes, yet costs are high for the marketers, forcing FMCG companies to innovate. Why FMCG companies are looking for different innovative strategies for their distribution in rural market? Because they are earning thin margins, but cost of distribution is high. So they have to think of new ideas or innovative ideas to reach the different villages of the rural market. Another challenge is that limited consumer awareness. Consumers are not aware like urban consumers, or they are not literate, they are not educated about the product or the services. It's a sure challenge for the distribution side or distribution of the marketers' product and services, and it is also making the communication and the marketing more complex because people are not aware, the customer is not aware about the product and services. So HUL's journey is essentially about overcoming these barriers. While HUL has decided to enter into the rural market, he had understood all these difficulties of entering into a rural base. Well, let it be a difficulty of geographical spread, poor infrastructure, low penetration, seasonal demand, high distribution cost to versus low margins, and limited awareness and literary barriers. These are all challenges to the distribution system of any FMCG company. HUL had understood this in clear format, and he innovated few strategies that we are going to discuss. Wholesaler led distribution. In the first phase of his distribution journey, HUL did what? Was dependent largely on wholesalers. The company had little direct control over pricing, product mix, or even how far into the rural areas products could reach because it was dependent on wholesalers. It has low control on its pricing strategies or pricing of the product mix, or even the rural areas, or what is the distance of that the wholesalers are selling their product to the rural areas. So HUL was not having proper control on these elements of marketing. The system worked reasonably well in urban areas but left rural India underdeserved. So this highlighted the need of more structured distribution model. So this is a untapped area where the marketer is not having control. They are dependent on wholesalers. So for this factor, HUL has thought of to develop a more structured distribution model. So initial stage of HUL was also relying on through the wholesalers, where they had some challenges like minimal direct company involvement, limited control over pricing and availability. So they want to structure the entire distribution channel through innovative distribution model. Then it comes to phase 2, that is through registered wholesalers. In phase 2, HUL introduced registered wholesalers or RWS. These wholesalers were more closely linked with the company. They ensures consistent supply and reduce the dependency on independent traders. So this is like more formatted one than the first page. The wholesalers are closely associated with the company. They ensure consistent supply and demand supply of the product for the rural demand. They started reducing the dependency on independent traders. So this is somewhat improved version of phase 1. This improved oversight and distribution in district level towns, but rural penetration was still a major challenge. Though development was seen in district level, but rural penetration was still a major challenge in phase 2 also. So HUL realized that a stronger distribution backbone was required. So phase 2 is remarkably known for registered wholesalers, steady supply and company oversight, help to reach the district level, but again the challenge persists about the rural penetration. Then it comes to phase 3, that is redistribution stockist RS. Phase 3 of HUL distribution channel was marked as a turning point. Why? HUL introduced redistribution stockist or RAs, who acted as intermediaries between the company and the retailers. This was the strategy HUL introduced them as redistribution stockist as the middleman between the company and the retailers. This RS model gave HUL a greater control over pricing, promotion, and service quality, because this RS or the stockist usually played the role as a communication leader between the company and the retailers. And they also played the role of information collector and information awareing the company about the real-time impact of it or real-time market situation at rural areas. So they started gaining more control over pricing, promotion, and service quality. So phase 3 through distribution stockist enabled the company to penetrate deeper into both urban and semi-urban markets and laid the foundation for later rural initiatives. So phase 3 was majorly for the appointment of redistribution stockists. They are responsible for retail coverage, better control of pricing, promotion and service quality, better connectivity between the marketer and the retailer, and somehow the company witnessed the wider market penetration through the redistribution stockist. Then it comes to company depots and C&F agents. To support the growing distribution need, HUL created a network of company depots and aided by carrying and forwarding agents. What is that? When the stockists have played a vital role in penetrating the rural market into in a deeper level or at more depth, there was a demand to develop the company depot aided by carrying and forwarding agents. These agents provided warehousing and managed the stock distribution. They provided warehousing and managed the stock distribution. The system improved supply chain efficiency and reduced stockouts because they had a control on the inventory system, and they used to manage the stock in a proper way or a proper quantity. So there was any stock out, hardly any stockouts. So how this development in HUL's distribution channel was a game changer with the establishment of company depot and having carrying and forwarding agents and maintaining the inventory at a proper level to avoid the stockouts. So that improved HUL supply chain efficiency. But the challenge of reaching the last mile in rural areas still remained as a challenge that time. So they had in phase 1 they had only wholesalers. In phase 2 they had registered wholesalers. In phase 3 they have the middleman as the stockist, redistribution stockist. So with the introduction of redistribution stockists, they had started gaining the control over the pricing and the reach or penetration of the market or the products to the rural market. After that, after understanding the development in distribution channel, the company has started establishing the depot and the carry forwarding agents. So after this company depot and carry forwarding agents, the company witnessed strong distribution channels in rural market because they had visualized, they have understood, they through this system they are having a better control on supply chain management and all other elements of marketing mix, let it be pricing, promotion, and communication between the company and retailer. So Mother Depot and JIT system, they introduced that. JIT also, Mother Depot concept introduced centralized hub for stock distribution. HUL further modernized its supply chain by setting up Mother Depot as centralized hubs. Centralized hubs will be the place, or it was the place where centralized stock distribution was happening those days. This depot fed regional distribution point and allowed the company to implement just in time. What is just in time? It is an inventory management and production strategy where materials and finished goods are acquired and produced only when they are needed. They don't overproduce anything before its need arrives. They produce the material or the production or to carry out the production initiatives or steps when only when they are needed. So thereby minimizing the excess inventory, reducing the waste and improving the efficiency. So JIT concept was introduced by HUL for its distribution channel to avoid extra cost of production, to avoid the waste and improve the efficiency of the entire system. So this reduce inventory cost and improve the product availability, ensuring the stock moved faster from the production to the consumer point. So it was a vital strategy of HUL by introducing the JIT and mother depots. So HUL introduced this, got the success out of it in reducing the carrying cost and improved the efficiency of the entire distribution channel. The introduction of RSNet marked the digital leap in HUL's distribution. Then they introduced the RSNet and the Project LEAP. LEAP. It allowed redistribution stockists to place orders the orders in their PCs and the mobile phone through digital medium, improve the accuracy and the speed. This was a part of Project Leap, an IT-driven initiative for end-to-end integration of the entire supply chain. By digitizing the distribution, HUL became more agile and responsive to market demand because retailer found it very convenient to put their orders or to do the ordering process through this particular project. And there is a efficiency development through ordering and getting the inventory. So enhanced information flow and transparency was visible. So this ultimately boosted the efficiency and responsiveness of the entire distribution channel. Entire distribution channel was effectively having the speed due to this RSNet and Project Leap of HUL. They had another approach that is called indirect coverage approach. HUL's first rural strategy was indirect coverage. Instead of targeting villages directly, the company supplied products through wholesalers and town retailers who occasionally serviced rural markets. It was an indirect approach. Without targeting the villages directly, the company supplied products through wholesalers. The company is not reaching the village directly as a company person. They are introducing their product through the wholesalers and town retailers, so who occasionally service the rural markets. While this ensured some availability, it did little to the strengthen the brand visibility or consumer connection in villages. So first phase we understood through the wholesalers. So this is also known as indirect coverage approach. Products were reaching the customers, but brand visibility was not that established. There was a minimal direct contact with the rural retailers. So this was the challenge of indirect coverage approach through wholesalers. During 1970, the Operation Harvest was introduced by HUL. They launched the Operation Harvest to tap the rural demand. The campaign used mobile vans to carry products, provide live demonstration, and interact with the rural consumer. This was in the year 1970. You can imagine the situation. It was before 40 years. Today that we are in 2025, if you go back to 1970, those days HUL has introduced this Operation Harvest to reach the rural markets. That means by that time also HUL has understood the potentiality of rural market and how to reach them. So they innovated their distribution channel and they used mobile vans to carry products, FMCG product, provide live demonstration then and there at the doorstep of the rural consumer. They directly interacted with rural consumers. They understood their needs, and they offered the product to match with or the cater the need of the rural market consumers. This strategy focused on awareness and product trials, creating a fast wave of brand familiarity in villages where formal retail infrastructure was missing. So when formal retail infrastructure was missing, HUL already reached the village buyers through the mobile vans with the product of all the products the company is having, and interacted with the consumers to sell their products as per their demand. This was Operation Harvest in the year 1970. Cinema van operation. HUL then understood the traditional media that had little reach in rural areas during 1970s and 1980s. To overcome this, it launched cinema vans, which combined entertainment with advertising. These vans screened popular films while inserting advertisement of HUL products. This was the strategy of HUL in 1980s. They named it cinema van because only medium of entertainment those days was cinema or films. So while watching the cinema of the films, HUL had started using his advertisement for the products. So viewers or the people, the local buyers who watch the particular movie, they are also watching the advertisement HUL products. So this was a strategy of HUL to introduce the advertisement of his products during films and cinemas those days in 1980s. The strategy not only drew large crowds but also built trust and recall among rural audience by linking entertainment with brand messaging. So it was also a revolution that time, introducing advertisement in cinemas and films, because cinema vans combined both entertainment and advertising for HUL. It reached villages with limited media access, screened films, and interlaced with HUL product advertisement. It built the trust and recall through entertainment-led promotions. So this was again a strategy of HUL to reach the rural market. Then it comes to Operation Streamline in 1990s. So in 1970, they started entering into the market with mobile vans. So after 10 years in 1980s, they introduced or they entered the rural market with cinema van operation, having both entertainment and advertisement of their product. Then 90s, they started a project that is called Operation Streamline. HUL launched Operation Streamline, a major step in reaching deeper into rural India. The company appointed sub-stockist in smaller village. So every village they targeted small villages also where they are appointed sub-stockist or having someone who is keeping all the stock of their product. Following a hub and spoke model connected with redistribution stockist. We understood about redistribution stockist strategy of HUL. So during 90s they introduced another section or another channels to the redistribution stockist for individual small villages, and they named it as soft stockist. This increased the availability in remote villages, particularly those with population under 2000. Understand the strategy of the company. Even if the village is having population less than 2000, they started what? They introduced the sub-stockist who is having the products of HUL and selling to this village. So that means their distribution channel is reaching each and individual customers home or their doorstep. Operation Streamline was a game changer in making HUL products consistently available in the hinterland. That means they have started, they thought of this particular strategy. They appointed sub-stockist, and these sub-stockists were taking product from the redistribution stockists and selling to the villages having less than 2000 population also. That means every consumer or the customer of the rural market of India was introduced to HUL products, used the HUL products and giving a feedback to the HUL products. So introduction of sub-stockist is in the name of Operation Streamline, and the model is hub and spoke model from the redistribution stockist. Operation Bharat in 1999. By 1999, HUL realized that affordability was the key to rural success. Operation Bharat was launched with small, low-priced Bharat packs priced at rupees 15, targeting the segment of low-income consumers. So slowly, as they were doing business with rural markets since 1970s, through many strategies, through many models or innovative methods, they understood that for rural markets they need to introduce their product in a low ticket size, or the low with a product that is matching with the pocket size of the rural buyers. They are not able to purchase the larger quantities at a time, so they introduced their product low price Bharat packs having a price of rupees 15, and the major target was low income consumers. Rural market is having, or rural areas are having more number of consumers having low income group. So for them, they introduced this Bharat packs having rupees 15 as a price. The initiative reached over 50 million rural consumers. Understand, with this small strategy, while strategizing this particular innovation, by that time it is sure that HUL has understood the buying behavior of the consumers of rural belt. So while understanding the buying behavior, they understood they need to introduce the low price Bharat packs or low price product to them to reach their income or to match with their income levels. So this initiative reached over 50 million rural consumers, introducing them to brands like Lifebuoy, Will, and Pepsodent. The strategy blended accessibility with affordability, making branded FMCG products part of daily rural life. Small initiative after understanding the buying behavior or buying psychology of rural customers helped HUL to reach more than 50 million rural consumers. This is not that easy. They reached 50 million rural consumers with this strategy of preparing products at a low price with low quantity as per the need of the rural consumers, because they need product for their daily requirement also. Sometimes they purchase 100 ml cooking oil, sometimes they purchase small soaps for a weekly requirement, because they are having low income, they are into the low income groups. So with this understanding, they launched the Operation Bharat in. They saw the success of reaching more than 50 million rural consumers at that time with having or introducing Bharat packs or 15 rupees trial packs of their products, let it be a Lifebuoy or Will or Pepsodent, starting from shower soap to clothes washing powder and a toothpaste. That means the indirect effect of this is that every one of the consumer base of India or every rural consumer was knowing about the products of HUL. They know what is Pepsodent. They know about Lifebuoy. They have used it because company makes sure that they are having the product at a low price by paying a low price. So at least they are using it and they are giving a feedback, or slowly they are getting brand loyal to their product. So Operation Bharat has changed the game of distribution, changed the game of branding, and they reached each and every villages with their product. Let it be at a Bharat pack size of rupees 50. Then another project they have introduced, that is called Bharat Pilot, Kolhapur experiment. HUL tested the Bharat concept with a pilot project in Kolhapur. Local rural promoters were engaged in go door to door and sell Bharat packs directly to households. This was again a strategy. Local rural promoters, let be a sarpanch or an influencer, were engaged, or a SSG group women, they were engaged to go door to door and sell Bharat bags directly to the households. Bharat bags may be a toothpaste or a detergent or a cosmetic, but HUL made that sure, or HUL made this operation by reaching, or they wanted to reach every customers of rural belt by knocking their door. So they introduced this product at a particular location, that is Kolhapur. This gave the company valuable insights into consumer behavior through the interaction with the consumer itself, how they are price sensitive to the product, price sensitive to the MRP of the product, and what is the feasibility of scaling. The Kolhapur experiment became the foundation for rolling out the Operation Bharat nationwide. So after getting the success from Kolhapur, they did this operation and nationwide and got the success, and they focused on door to door selling and helped refine Operation Bharat model. And it was a pilot experiment. Initially they did at Kolhapur. Later on they did the same experiment and throughout the country. And what was the success out of it? They understood the behavior of the consumer directly from their uses or their houses by interacting with them, and they got the direct, honest feedback about their product as well. Then it comes to Bharat vans and promoters. To reach villages beyond traditional distribution routes, HUL introduced Bharat vans. These vans carried trial packs of soaps, detergents, and personal care products, making them available at village shops. So promoters traveled with the vans to demonstrate product benefits to the consumer, generating awareness and encouraging the trial. This approach created both supply and demand in rural areas simultaneously. They have van system. Usually they used to travel with their van with the products. They used to have the demonstration on the spot. But they again reintroduced the concept in the name of Bharat vans and the promoters to reach villages beyond traditional distribution routes. Those HUL was having a traditional distribution routes, but many villages were not having that facility. So to reach those villages that are beyond the traditional distribution route through the project of Bharat vans and promoters. These vans carried trial packs of soaps, detergent and personal care products, making them available at village shops. All are in trial packs. So, what was the objective of having trial packs? The villages having low income group, they were purchasing the trial pack by paying a limited amount. They experienced the uses of the product, the benefits of the product. Again, they were coming back to the village shop to again pay the trial packs. So this was like giving the consumer a direct experience of using the product, though at a lesser price. At one purchase, they are paying less amount or low amount for a small quantity. At least they are using it. This was the objective of company. And once they are using, what was the objective? That once they are getting an experience of using that product, they will again come and buy that. So they reached the shop through the vans and they named it as Bharat vans. The promoters used to give the demonstration of product benefits, and they used to generate the awareness and increasing the trial uses of their product. So this was a success again for HUL through Bharat vans and promoters that boosted the awareness, trials and brand trust. That means the company wanted to reach each and every customer of rural market. And you need to understand that we discussed many theories, many concepts, many ideas, many models. But HUL worked at the grassroots level. HUL understood the need of the customer. HUL understood the buying behavior of the consumer, their paying capacity, their choices, their requirement, their preferences. And keeping everything in one basket, they developed all these distribution channel innovations. Let it be Bharat vans, let it be Bharat pilot project, let it be Operation Bharat. let it be operation streamline. They wanted to reach each and every customers of rural belt because they simply understood that this is the rural market of India is a high potential market. They cannot avoid it since 1970s. So even if that time the distribution was too difficult with poor infrastructure and road system, they adopted all XYZ innovation in their distribution channels, and slowly they reached a deeper penetration into the rural market. After Bharat Bans, they introduced the Project Sakti in the year 2001. So before Project Sakti, they did all small experiments. They understood the takeaways of the experiment. They again nourished their knowledge system to develop Project Sakti in the year 2001. So it was one. This one was one of the HUL's most successful and revolutionary initiative. The company partnered with women's self-help groups. By that time, every village is having SSG group. That means women were getting empowered through government schemes. They were coming out of their home to participate in regular work of the government, and they were the influencer of the village. So as because HUL was directly in touch with the village, they also understood if they want to penetrate more into the villages, they need to take the help of the SSG group. So the company partnered with women SSG group to create Shakti Ammas. Ammas having Shaktis or empowering the women of the village or the women of the SSG group. These women entrepreneurs who sold HUL products in their villages. This model not only expanded HUL's last mile distribution but also empowered rural women by providing income scope or opportunities. They helped company to reach the last mile distribution, or they took the product from the company stockers to the consumer house. But they also start through this the women are empowered to have an additional income from the company, and they started being the influencer to sell their products to the houses or the village consumers. So it became a social and business success story. And Project Sakti of 2001, by connecting or partnering with self-help group and by creating Sakti Ammas, HUL directly reached the home selling in villages through the Ammas or the empowered women of SSG group of villages. Two outcomes of this were empowered women with more income options and expanded distribution reach. Shakti Amma's extension. To strengthen Project Shakti, HUL launched Shakti Man in 2003. Male family members of Shakti Ammas, often their husbands or brothers, were given bicycles to cover nearby village in the year 2003. This is an extension of Shakti Ammas, and the name was Shakti Man, where the company started involving the male members by providing them by encouraging them to sell their products. The company provided them bicycles, and they started selling their product to the village buyers. They helped to distribute the products and expand coverage beyond the Amma's immediate community. This ensured a larger market reach while maintaining a family participation in the distribution network. So this was interesting one because once the women are involved, they were the immediate influencer for the male members of the family, let it be her husband or brother, and they also gave a chance up to earn more by selling the same product or company's product to house to village buyers. Company provided them bicycle. They were known as Shaktimans, and they support the Shakti Ammas in distribution also. So this was an extension of Shakti Ammas where the male members were again into the distribution channel. So this was a quite innovative project of HUL. So slowly you can understand the graph of understanding. buyer's psychology at rural market or rural India by the company. Company was company did a thorough research in understanding the buying psychology of the rural buyers, purchase psychology of the rural buyers. So slowly they are also developing their distribution channel, keeping every factor into consideration. And now in the year 2003, they were at a strategy of Shakti months where the male members were again involved into the distribution channel. Then it comes to Shakti days and community awareness. To complement the Shakti distribution model, HUL organized Shakti days in villages. These were community events where awareness sessions on health, hygiene, and nutrition were held, often tied to brand demonstration. This was something in a combo package. You need to understand what was the objective of HUL company those days. They hired both women and men, or the male and female members of the village. They were the associated members. They knew company well, so now they are targeting the mass audience through the arrangement of regular Shakti days. Shakti days. This is something related to empowerment. Let it be knowledge empowerment. So company used to give awareness session on health to the local buyers, on hygiene, on nutrition. Most of the village buyers were not aware of their health, hygiene, and nutrition. So when they were receiving updated information about all these three important parameters of their life through Shakti days, so the company was successful in reaching the mass audience of the village. Previously, it was with family members, male and female members of the individual house. Now, through Shakti Days, he was connecting, or the company was connecting with the entire crowd, through the entire crowd. And what the crowd was receiving some important information about the health, hygiene, and nutrition parameters of their life, or the social life of their particular individual life or social life. And usually the company has linked, a company did what, it linked the demonstration or the brand demonstration with this particular type of discussion. Though they were discussing on health, hygiene, and nutrition, but company had brand demonstration through that. They were also advertising their product during those discussions. So when it was discussion on health, they are having a product related to that. If it was a discussion on hygiene, they have a product related to that. If it was a discussion on nutrition, also they have a product. They had a product on that. So they were reaching directly to the mass audience through Shakti Days. By combining social messaging with product education, it will enhance the trust with rural consumers and build long-term brand loyalty. This approach made Project Shakti more than just a sales initiative. It was not just an advertising, it was also a social entrepreneurship or social interactions or social presence of the company for the villages. It became a community development program. So it was a success story for HUL through Shakti Ammas, then the involvement of Shakti Mans, then through Shakti Ammas and Shakti Mans, they conducted Shakti Days. So from individual association, they entered into the mass association. And through having two scalable and adaptable across the rural context globally, not exactly for Indian context, it was accepted globally, making it one of the Unilever's most recognized best practices in inclusive business. It was a remarkable success for HUL. They got the success in Indian villages. Now they introduced the same model in Sri Lanka and Pakistan, where they also got the same type of success. So they understood to tap the rural market, this kind of initiative or this type of initiative was needed. So HUL recognized as a global best practices through this Sakti model. It was tested, tried, and tested in Indian context, introduced to the international markets, rural markets like Sri Lanka and Pakistan, and they also received the same type of success through this model. खुशियों की डोली in 2007. You understand the market, the company is consistently researching the behavior of the customers. They introduce many models. They are not living, or they are not exiting from this particular type of initiation. They kept on innovating their distribution strategies, and in the year 2007 they introduced again Khushiyon Ki Doli, and or the Caravan of Happiness, to further strengthen the rural connection. Though no doubt they were connected with villages by that time, because they were doing all these strategies or innovations from 2070 on, 1970 onwards. But they by 2007 they introduced the concept Khushiyon Ki Doli or Caravan of Happiness to further strengthen the rural connection. A mobile van traveled to villages, combining entertainment with product demonstration, contest, and skits. The same mobile van in a different format now this time. This mobile van was having what? Product demonstration, contest, and skits about the product. This mobile van traveled to villages. They had some entertainment program, and they had the same product demonstration merged with that particular entertainment program. The program reached over 35,000 villages of India and built emotional connection with rural consumers. Suppose a skit was played by this man on a social message, and this message was having a deep connection with the rural mindset, and the skit was a powerful sketch, and it impacted the villages. So naturally they got connected with the company itself, because when the villagers get a connection with the skit, and the skit was played by the HUL company, so there was the villagers is connected to the company itself. So it was again a success story for HUL, because it's reached more than 35,000 villages and built emotional connection with the rural consumers by integrating fun with functional brand communication. So Khusiyon Ki Doli launched in 2007 as a global rural outreach program, having both brand awareness and entertainment through product demonstration, contest, and the major success was it reached more than 35,000 untouched village or untapped village across India. Community engagement activities. Khushiyon Ki Doli or Project Sakti both emphasized community engagement or engaging village buyers with the company's activities. Activities like Mohalla meetings, quizzes, games from by the company for the villagers encouraged local participation. Importantly, these events were interactive, allowing villagers to ask questions and share the feedback. That means the company started listening to the village people or the villagers. So when the company started listening, they also, so villagers got more engaged with the company's activity. If it was a meeting, or it's a quizzes, or it's some kind of games, but any kind of format it was there from the company side, that is those are related to their product demonstration as well. So this two-way communication helped HUL fine-tune its strategies, because HUL got direct feedback from the villagers, while and on the same note he was building the stronger consumer trust. So community engagement activities through different form of initiation like meetings, quizzes, and games, HUL reached or achieved two-way communication with the villagers. And the major success was to have the live product demonstration. What was the impact of this initiative on local buyers? One of the biggest impact of HUL's rural strategies was having a sharp increase in awareness and product trials. Villages who previously relied on unbranded or local alternatives were introduced to affordable branded goods because the company and the villages are now close to each other. There was no middleman. Let it be Sakti Ammas, Sakti Mans, re-stockist, or the wholesaler or the distributors. No one was there. Only the company and the direct consumers. So company was selling the products through many community reconnection program, or company was having a game related to their need. So the consumers were sharing their direct feedback with the company. So it helped what? It created a strong awareness about the product, and the company provided them some trial packs. So once trialed, many consumers shifted to consistent use, or they shifted from the local brands to HUL's products. Slowly, loyalty was developed towards HUL's brands like Lifebuoy, Will, and Pepsodent, and this ensured long-term rural market growth for the company. So now you can see the graph of companies' innovations in distribution channel. It started with wholesalers, then registered wholesalers, then restockist or redistribution stockist, then small stockist at small villages. Then from small stockists, they enter into individual family life by empowering their women, like Shakti Ammas. After having empowered women, they involve the male members of the families as Shakti Mans, and after Shakti Mans, they had group village bands. They have product demonstration through skit model. Now they are through the community reconnection program. They addressed a mass, not to the individual family, and slowly they were at the level where the company is doing community engagement activities and involving the direct customers or the consumers in product trial procedures or process, and also the company was receiving the direct feedback from the consumers. So this again helped or fine tuned the strategies of the HUL, and the impact was quite visible. Impact was having increased brand awareness, where customers were changing from their local brand to HUL's product. So this was quite visible those days. In 2007, customers were changing their preferences from the local brands to HUL's product. So it ensured a long-term rural market growth for the company. Women empowerment and inclusive growth. Beyond sales, HUL initiative had strong social outcomes also, quite natural also. When women of SSG group were selling the product of HUL to villages, they were at the same time getting empowered with the selling techniques, with the extra income. Project Shakti gave rural women income generating scope and opportunities. It raised their status within the families and communities. Many Shakti Ammas use their earnings for their children's education and healthcare, because now they are having extra disposable income through their selling, through the involvement with companies Shakti Ammas project. So the invisible outcome or the other outcome of Shakti Amma's project was having more income scope or adding more income opportunities to the local women, and they usually use their extra income for children's education and healthcare. Thus, HUL's rural distribution became both a business success and a social empowerment model, blending profitability with inclusive growth. Company was successful in positioning itself as a social empowerment model because it was giving scope of earning more through the program. It empowered the rural women with more selling technique and education about the product. So this was a popular product model having both profitability and empower social empowerment with inclusive growth. So women empowerment and inclusive growth of HUL's initiation was more towards income generation, enhanced status in family and community. Social benefits, this were like having better education, better healthcare, and self confidence. And rural distribution, from the marketing point of view, is having a business enhancement or business growth along with as a social empowerment model. So the next is overcoming infrastructure challenges. HUL overcame rural infrastructure barrier by designing sub hub and spoke distribution that we discussed, having local wholesalers or the for small villages having less than 2000 members also. This model is known as hub and spoke distribution. They appointed sub-stockists and local promoters to serve scattered villages. Mobile vans bridged the last mile where road access was poor. The company also aligned distribution intensity with seasonal demand peaks, such as harvesting time or festival time, ensuring availability when rural purchasing power was the highest. So, this hub and spoke distribution model overcame the challenges related to infrastructure through the appointment of sub-stockists and local promoters and leveraging ICT and mobile penetration. With rising mobile uses and better connectivity, ICT became a backbone for rural distribution. RSNet allowed stockists to order digitally, cutting delays. Mobile phones became tools for promoting products and educating the consumers. ICT also enabled better demand forecasting and responsiveness, giving HUL an edge in managing rural distribution effectively. We discussed about RSNet, where the consumer or the stockist or the distributor or the wholesaler was ordering their through digital medium. So, with the introduction of mobile penetration, it again enhanced the communication and promotion channels. ICT improved forecasting and responsiveness. So, this data driven rural strategy was a success for HUL. Rising rural aspiration. Another key driver was rising aspiration in rural India. With more exposure to media and urban lifestyle, rural consumers began preferring branded products. This was again a factor because they were they are watching urban lifestyles and they are getting influenced by their lifestyle, and then nowadays they are preferring branded products like urban consumers. They are looking for quality, variety, and aspirational consumption, like similar to urban buyers. So HUL capitalized on this by offering affordable pack sizes while also positioning its brand as modern and trustworthy. So rural consumers seeking urban lifestyle, this was a factor for HUL success. Shift from unbranded to branded products, growing demand for quality and variety, influence of media and social exposure has did a real-time shift in buying behavior of rural consumer and towards urban buying behavior. HUL's rural distribution has been a benchmark of success, bringing FMCG brands to millions of rural households while creating strong brand loyalty. Yes, we need to accept HUL rural distribution strategies were the benchmark of success, and what it did, it made close the FMCG brand to million of rural households. Let it be Project Sakti in particular, Project Sakti Ammas or Sakti Mans, or any Kolhapur pilot study. However, these challenges remain. Rural distribution in cost intensive, demand is seasonal, progress often depends on government led infrastructure and development. But HUL's this particular project Sakti was a success story for HUL because it reached millions of households, all that 70% of population of rural India. So HUL's rural distribution story is one of the continuous innovation, starting from indirect coverage, slowly moving through Operation Bharat and culminating the Project Sakti and beyond. The company successfully combined business goals with social empowerment, making rural women partners in growth, Looking ahead, technology, better infrastructure, and rising aspiration will continue to expand rural opportunities. So, HUL's model stand as a global reference point for rural marketing strategies. We need to accept, and world has accepted, that HUL model is having a rural global importance while we discuss on rural marketing strategy. With this, we are closing the entire chapter of distribution and rural marketing. Thank you.